Hey everybody, Chris here, Mother and Son Real Estate, talking about appraisals. Right now in today's market, appraisals are getting slashed, they're getting cut. Let me share with you right now, if you're a buyer, why that may not be a benefit for you. Stay tuned. Okay, so one of the first things that you do if you're a buyer in today's market and you're getting financing is you order an appraisal on your house. A buyer has to pay roughly between $400 up to $500 for the appraisal. Appraiser goes out. What we're seeing right now, okay, in today's market, and quite honestly, we've been seeing this for the past couple years now, is the appraiser goes out, they say, you know what, the report comes back, they say, you know what, the value is not there for this home. Okay, so what happens? Why is that a bad thing for a buyer? I'll tell you why. Sellers, of course, want to get as much money for their home as possible, right? All sellers want top dollar for their home. So if the appraisal comes out lower, let's just throw out a number here. Let's say $550,000 is what you put the offer on the house that you want to purchase. Let's say the value now comes out to $525,000. The report comes in, $525,000, right? That's a problem for the buyer because, and the seller, quite honestly, because there now has to be a meeting of the minds. There has to be a renegotiation. Okay, number one, this can go different ways. The first way it can go is that the seller compromises and says, okay, obviously my property was not worth $550,000. I will sell it for $525,000, and then everybody's happy, buyer's happy, right? And seller gets what the property's really worth. Number two case, the second thing that can take place is the seller says, you know what? I don't care that it didn't appraise at $525,000 or $550,000. I want $550,000, period, right? So in that case, the buyer has to make a decision. How bad do they want this property? Do they want to, because the bank is only going to see that it's worth $525,000. Therefore, if a person is putting, their financing is 10% down, they were planning on putting $55,000 down payment because the property was $550,000, 10% of $550,000 is $55,000. Now, the bank says, however, nope, it's worth $525,000. Now the buyer, if they're going to still pay $550,000, the bank is only going to give them value on $525,000. Therefore, if the seller is not going to budge and the buyer desperately wants this property, the buyer now has to pay $25,000 in addition to what their 10% down is going to be. So they would have to put 10% of $525,000 is approximately $52,000, right? So $52,500. Now they're also going to have to add another $25,000 above that. So now instead of putting the original $55,000 for the 10% on the $550,000, they're now putting $52,500 plus $25,000, which is what, like 52 plus 25. Now we're talking, $75,000 roughly, right? Ballpark. So that is something that the seller and the buyer are going to have a battle over, right? Number three case, the third thing that can take place here on this particular purchase example is they both negotiate. They say, okay, you know what? The property I wanted $550,000, value came in at $525,000. Seller says, okay, I'll go down half, you go up half, we'll meet in the middle. How about that? In that case, though, the buyer still has to come out of pocket with more money. So my point here, guys, is the last couple years we've seen values definitely going up, right? They're going up. And in these scenarios, like I'm presenting to you right now, we've seen many of these cases, okay? The buyers right now are willing, if they have the money, okay, they have to have the money obviously to be paying a little bit above to get to that point where they're meeting with the seller and coming to an agreement. We're seeing that the buyers are moving forward, okay? And there's some sort of negotiation, whether the seller comes down a little bit, buyer comes up a little bit. Buyers willing to put a little bit more money out of pocket to secure that home because they want it. that is an indication of an extremely strong real estate market where home values are continuing to rise. Think about it. Now that property, it was valued at 525. Well, the buyer says, nope, I'm willing to pay more than 525. So now it's worth 550, let's say. So that's taking place all across the Southland right now in certain scenarios. A lot of times, obviously, the property does appraise. Okay, but if there's a seller out there that really wants a price that they want and they're not budging, and there's a buyer that's willing to pay the price, that's going to make home values continue to rise, and that's the kind of market that we're in right now. Okay, so I share those examples with you. I hope they help. If you guys have any questions at all, we're always available to answer those questions, okay? But definitely a strong real estate market right now. Interest rates are still low, so that's a benefit. But I wanted to share this example with you to share with you why an appraisal, many people may think like, oh, if it doesn't hit the value, if it doesn't come in at value, let's say at 550, we put in an offer at 550, it doesn't come in at 550, comes in lower, that creates a little bit of, okay, now we got to negotiate, we got to massage the deal, we got to figure out how we can come to still a meeting of the minds and get you into this property. And we do this all the time. We know how to do it. That's why it really pays to work with real estate professionals that have the experience and see cases like this quite often. So God bless you guys. I hope you're doing well. Hope I answered questions for you. Reach out to us anytime, okay?